In the aftermath of the fatal Appalachia school shooting, the role of school police is on the minds of all students, parents, and staff. In Fulton County, our officers have had a history of being more than a police force. They spend time connecting with students. Hear how in this unique look beyond the badge with FCS Police Chief Zaborski and Outreach Leader Lieutenant Washington. Hello, and welcome to another edition of Let's Talk Schools. I'm Mike Looney, the host of the show and the superintendent of schools here in Fulton County. Today, we're going to be talking about the Fulton County Schools, the police department, and its role in community law enforcement. Chief, thank you for joining us, and you have a very capable our Lieutenant Washington with us today. How are things going? Are you fully staffed for the upcoming year?
We're good. We're not fully staffed. We're still struggling like every other law enforcement agency is, but we've got some new hires coming on board. Very excited about filling the roles the way we can, the best way we can, and getting the opportunities out there.
So a lot of people don't even know that we have our own post-certified police force.
Sure.
So talk to us about the structure of your department. How many officers do you have? What are the primary functions of the Fulton County Schools Police Department?
We're a non-traditional agency that fits a kind of a very traditional role inside Fulton County Schools. We're staffed. If we're fully staffed, we have just shy of 90 police officers altogether. We have everything that a regular, fully functioning, out rolling the streets police department has. We've got a criminal investigation unit. We've got a special operations unit. We've got patrol functions. We've got school-based officers. We've got community officers. One of the exciting things that we're going to be starting up this year is a K-9 program. So we're very excited about that. More to come on that, right? So kind of in the get-go on that. But I guess the biggest difference that we have is that our focus is, like we're going to talk about today, is very community related, right? When I get the chance to go out and talk to folks about what we do, I like to say that we don't police kids, right? We try to keep the world out so our kids have an opportunity to learn in a great educational environment. What we do inside the educational environment is do our best to be a positive influence and a role model in a law enforcement function. A lot of times we get kids that come into us and we are the first positive influence that they have in a law enforcement type capacity, right? So we try to build relationships inside. We can build relationships with our stakeholders, our kids, our staff members, our parents that walk onto our campuses, our visitors that, on campus. And again, we fit that traditional law enforcement role that every other police department does. And we have to enforce laws too at the same time, but our primary focus is really building those relationships inside the schools with our kids.
So Lieutenant Washington, on boots on the ground, what does community building from the police department look like?
Well, we started our community policing division right as we were transitioning back in from our COVID pandemic. And of course, as with some of my ideas, mostly all of them, the chief got an idea. He said, well, let's see what we can do about it. So put together our policies, and we started working with some of the more well-known national programs like GREAT and DARE, but we also have officers within our agencies who do their own mentoring programs. We have a program that started at Independence High School. It's called GENTS, Getting Educated Now for Tomorrow's Success. That's primarily headed by, I believe his name is Dr. Robinson, but Officer Philip Lewis from our department works with that program. They talk to young men about mentoring. They teach them how to tie ties, the need for a proper handshake and eye contact, things that sometimes slip between the cracks. We have officers who see a need and feel a need. And so for us, it can be anything. We partner with our local municipalities. We work with National Night Out, with South Fulton, City of Sandy Springs. We do Trunk or Treat with Johns Creek. And of course, when it comes to our in-house responsibilities, I take emails from principals, and I also send emails out. If you need us, please invite us. We would love to come and participate. The motto of our community policing division is we are serving students and staff beyond the badge.
Outstanding. Thank you for your service. Chief, we have agreements with other law enforcement agencies. We have multiple law enforcement agencies that are within Fulton County. because of the various municipalities that we have, and plus the sheriff's office, et cetera.
Sure.
So what does that relationship look like between Fulton County Schools Police and the city of John Street, as an example?
Sure. We meet on a regular basis, right? So we make sure that that local municipalities have opportunities to come inside our schools. We encourage that. I guess the easiest way to explain it is when I look at the badge and the patch on my sleeve, it just tells me where the paycheck comes from, right? It really, we're out there trying to accomplish the same set of goals. Comes from a lot of communication through, and as you rightly pointed out, we've got 13 other independent policing jurisdictions that we deal with, outside of the city of Atlanta, between the halves of the county that we service. And it takes a lot of communication between all those agencies to make sure that we're all filling the same role. But again, it going back to just that community model of making sure that there's opportunities out there for the local municipalities to come in and engage with our kids. So anything that we're talking about here in a lot of the services that we provide and a lot of the programs that we do for our kids, we ask the other agencies to come in and participate, at least maybe not on a full-time basis, but hey, make a guest appearance, right? Come in and tell us about what you do and come in and engage with our kids, especially when it gets around on the holidays, right? Some of the great things that we like to do around the holidays. One of the examples we just talked about a little bit ago, outside waiting to film, was Thanksgiving, and all the elementary schools that put out the feelers for, hey, get your law enforcement and your firefighters to come in and help serve our kids, right? And that is a fantastic opportunity for, to see these folks in uniform come in and actually provide a service that is not a law enforcement piece or a firefighter piece or a first responder piece. We're actually putting hairnets on and aprons and going out there and serving turkey, right? So it's a great opportunity just to change that up a little bit, and our local municipalities jump at the chance to get into those things. And because again, the things that happen out in the community make their way inside the school, and the things that happen inside the school make their way out in the community, right? And we've got to make sure that we're all on the same page when it comes to that communication piece, and make sure that we're given opportunities outside, that we're not working in those silos that everybody hates so much, right? And making sure that we've got opportunities.
Right. Lieutenant Washington, I know that I have often said it's all about relationships. We're truly in the relationship business. And I know that law enforcement officers play a critical role in building relationships with the broader community, but also with individual students that might find themselves in a trouble spot. Not necessarily that they committed a crime, but don't have a good relationship, or never had a good relationship with law enforcement because they've been on the wrong side. So talk to us about some of the strategies that you and your team employ to help foster those positive relationships.
The biggest piece is being consistent and being available. As you said, a lot of our kids don't have those positive interactions. And sometimes we are their first positive contact with law enforcement. So we try to take responsibility for that in teaching them, if you have to interact with law enforcement out in the community, this is what you should expect. And if you don't get that, this is what you should do. We know that sometimes our kids can be a little obstinate and they want to make their point right then and there, but sometimes it's better to play the long game. So we talk to them about building those relationships. And one of the things that I have discovered over my last 10 years here with the school district is if you show up and you do your part and you are consistent, you don't have to look for those kids. Those kids will look for you. And it's just about being available and being there and being understanding and taking off your police hat and putting on your mentor hat, because sometimes that's just what's needed. I like to think that that we're a part of a larger community, and we're in the schools, and we're more than just police officers when we're here. We can be a source of support, mentorship, guidance, whatever our students may need. Every student's need is going to be different. So I'm proud of the fact that we have a lot of officers within this agency that take that initiative without me having to ask, without Chief having to ask. They see a need, they meet a need. It could be things as simple as having toiletries, things that you don't really think about sometimes that can make somebody's day go a lot smoother, just having a conversation. There's a young man at a school in South County. I got a little busy last couple weeks of school, and he hadn't seen me because we were there doing the Evolve system. And he found the social worker. He said, "Where is Lieutenant Washington?" So she called me. She said, "He's looking for you." I said, "Tell him I'll be there first thing in the morning." And when he hit the door, he saw me. I said, "I heard you were looking for me." He said, yes, ma'am. He said, I wonder what happened. I said, I apologize. I got a little busy. I said, but I'll be here. But those are the things that, make your heart smile, because now you're making a difference. And that could be the difference between somebody that's straddling the fence, trying to decide if I'm going to go this way or go that way. Now you have somebody that that you can count on. So that is the beauty about being in the setting that we are in. We have the ability to teach our kids how to be productive citizens.
Chief, I know that when you establish relationships with someone, there's trust that's built. And then sometimes they can actually, the relationship can lead to a tip that prevents something from happening.
Yeah.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
I tell you what, building that community with as many mechanisms as we have out there for supplying tips to make sure that, we've got the tip line that everybody has access to, that everybody knows, and we get, random anonymous tips, through those things all the time. Just that building that community and that trust is just crucial, and is for as many mechanisms as we have out there for reporting tips. Some of the best ones are, the kids that actually do come to our staff and go, hey, look, I really don't want to say anything, but you want to look at X, Y, Z. And it really, again, you're creating and inspiring that sense of ownership in your community and keeping it safe. I go back to the example of, if we have 2 officers inside a high school setting, we got 4 police eyeballs, right? But, you're in there with 1,800 kids. There's that many other eyeballs looking around, right? So building that relationship, because the kids see everything, and they know everything that goes on. And being that trusted adult in that capacity that they know they can go to, and know that if they go to you with something, you're going to keep them safe that day. And oftentimes when they walk outside those 4 walls of the school, they don't feel the same safety out in the community that they do inside our schools. So they really look for that opportunity of making sure that their school environment stays safe too, and that they've got a place to come to. And we're a crucial role in that, in building that trust and that relationship with those kids, and knowing that we're not going to violate that trust in any way when they do come to us.
Good deal. Lieutenant Washington, if somebody wants to know more about the community policing function of Fulton County Schools, how would they go about learning more?
You can contact me. And my email is washingtonad@fultonschools.org. I will be more than happy to engage anyone who wants to participate in any of our programming. We get a lot of requests from nonprofit organizations who would love to come and partner with us and do different things. So we love to vet anyone who comes from the outside to come and speak with our kids on our behalf. And we would love to participate in any programs in the community that gets us visibility, so that the community knows that we are here, we are a resource to the community and to our students.
Chief, I know that I shouldn't say this. I suspect that one of the main reasons we actually have a police department is to be proactive, to prevent a crisis from happening.
Sure.
Such as a school shooting or a violent event. But if that were to happen, how confident are you that we're ready to react and respond should the unthinkable happen?
We've taken a great opportunity today to talk about a lot of the community building that we do. And you brought up a really good point that at the flip side, we do extensive training and inter-agency training with our municipal partners on making sure that we're prepared for the unexpected. Right. Unfortunately, we've got to live in both those worlds. I talk about that all the time, that oftentimes, people in the community, they really don't think about those things until they actually happen. On the planning and prevention side, when we're talking about the folks that we have employed by our agency and the within the school district itself and our command staff, it's kind of the world that we live in all the time. I hate to put that out there, but we do constantly think through those scenarios and what we would do and how we would act and how we would, and it goes back to those agencies that we deal with on the outside and making sure that we're meeting on a regular basis and we're communicating those things. And when things do come up and things do happen across the nation, that we debrief those. Right. And make sure that, when we have an opportunity to learn from somebody else and an incident that happened somewhere else, we're not remiss in not taking that opportunity to rehash what we do and making sure that we're well prepared. So if you ask my opinion, I would hate for it to happen, but we would be ready to stand up if we needed to.
We're prepared should that happen.
Absolutely.
But that's not our primary function. Our primary function is community orientation, preventing things from happening, building relationships.
Sure.
Y'all play such a critical role to the success of our district and to the safety of our students and staff. Thank you for being here today. And folks, as always, thank you for watching another edition of Let's Talk Schools. And now, let's go around the district in 90 seconds. That's it for our show this week. Let's keep this conversation going. We'd love to hear from you on our social media platforms. Join us next time on Let's Talk Schools, and thank you for watching.